Welcome back. There's a subject in the news that you read about almost daily that none of us can afford to ignore, and we all need to understand what's going on in our communities and what we can do about it. And that's the influx of heroin that's moving into our counties. And with me today is Sergeant Tim Sicko, who's with the Investigation Division of the Saratoga Police Department.
Correct.
So first, welcome.
Thank you.
You focus on narcotics, you told me.
I do, yes.
Okay. How long have you been involved in that, Tim?
I'd have to say probably within the last total of 6-7 years with the narcotics end of it.
And in that time, you've seen some drastic changes. The most recent change, probably the most drastic of all, the
Yes.
influx of heroin coming into the market.
Yes, absolutely.
I think the statistic that Tim and I were going over before we came on air is that as recently as maybe 2 years ago, 2 out of 100 arrests were related to opiates, and that now we're over 50% of the arrests that are being made.
I'd have to say that was correct. Yeah, I mean, we're seeing a huge increase in the amount of heroin usage, sales, arrests, things of that nature related to heroin.
And probably the most serious is overdosing, right?
Yes, death, obviously.
Yeah. What do you attribute this to?
The easiness of getting it, the cost of it, the addictive nature of it.
Mm-hmm. And we're not talking about, we would immediately think that people of an impressionable age group, teenagers, but it's across the board, you were telling me.
Yes, there's no age is immune to it. No, I've seen teenagers up until their, mid to early 50s.
I got you. So all of a sudden we're confronted with this as a community. We need to embrace it as a community, and we need to do something about it. What steps can someone take to first identify a problem, and then what can they do about the problem?
Obviously, if you feel that somebody that you know, whether it's a child, a loved one, a friend, is using heroin or any type of drug of that nature, and there are certain signs that exist. If you loss of money at the house,
Sure.
items being stolen, agitated behavior,
Right.
sleeplessness, depression, issues like that. Obviously, talk to the person, try to dive into what's going on in their life.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't get any help there, obviously there's some other counseling services out there. But I think more importantly is those signs are very obvious at times.
Mm-hmm.
And don't take a blind eye to it. Address it immediately. Don't let it get out of hand. Because once it does, it can take that deadly step of obviously the overdosing or death.
And you've witnessed this firsthand, you were telling me. No easy job knocking on a door and having somebody come to the door and have to advise them that a loved one has overdosed.
Yeah, I have experienced it. I've, just recently, within the last 4 or 5 months, I had to make a notification to a family that their loved one had passed as a result of, at that time we had felt that was a heroin overdose and was later confirmed. So yeah, I have experienced it firsthand, and it's probably one of the toughest parts of the job.
And it's so easy, it's so susceptible for someone to hear, hey, in the 60s they said the same thing about marijuana. Now, we're not condoning any drug or anything like that, but when you think about heroin, just how, if you even get heroin, right? Because they mix it with other chemicals.
Exactly. Heroin is a very, very deadly substance. You never know what it's being laced with. Sometimes I've done some research on it. There's been certain people that had no idea they were ingesting heroin. They thought it might have been cocaine, or they thought it might have been crushed up pills. Very addictive drug. One of the hardest drugs to come off of. Very painful. So yeah, I mean it's there, it's present. This community is not immune to it, but I think we have to be vigilant. See the signs when the signs are present. If you see a change in your child's behavior or your loved one's behavior or a friend's behavior, obviously address it. If you need some assistance, reach out to us, reach out to the hospital, Prevention Council. There's a lot of organizations that can really help you out with getting this issue addressed.
It's just human nature, Tim. But, people would say, well, it's probably not that. I think that the point you're making that at first signs of it, aggressive behavior, depression, jewelry missing, money missing, anything like that, go right to the heart of the matter. Get this thing out in the open. And I think the point you've made to me a number of times is, if it's your children or your friends or your loved ones, talk to them, right?
Absolutely.
Get it on the table.
Get it out there. I mean, even to talk about the subject, I mean, it's here, it's not going anywhere. We in the police department are aggressively addressing it on a daily basis. But we're not, again, I'm going to say we're not immune to it. It's here, it's not going anywhere. But I think educate ourselves, just like I educate myself. I read up on it because it's changing daily.
Mm-hmm.
So as parents, friends, people that are interested in this and want to see this changed, research it, be a part of the problem, or be a part of the solution, not
right.
the problem. And again, if you see things that just don't set right with you,
right.
address it. If your child is failing in school when he or she was doing well, there's something going on there. If they're depressed, there's something going on there. If you're seeing, paraphernalia laying around the house, obviously don't take a blind eye to it. Do the right thing, address it, talk to the individual, reach out to us if need be. We can definitely help you out in those situations.
Now, and what we're referring to by paraphernalia could be anything from pieces of rubber tubing to burnt spoons to syringes, probably the most obvious one of them all. But those are what we're talking about. We're talking about, you see anything that breaks the norm, because it's a very, very deadly, powerful drug that kills people, changes lives, and you can see it. You can see it as it starts to affect someone's life, right?
Absolutely, immediately.
Right.
I mean, it's again, one of the most addictive drugs based upon the interviews that I've done with users, informants, other law enforcement that have been involved in this, field for many years. It's a very, very dangerous, addictive drug.
People would be very hesitant about what the first steps could take, and it depends on the individual. But you were mentioning certain organizations you can go to.
Sure, absolutely.
You can go to the hospital.
Yep, the Prevention Council here locally. Community organizations, religious organizations. Your doctors can provide you with, rehabilitation services. That's important. It's huge. I mean, can it be conquered? I believe it can, but
right.
You got to have people that are willing to step up and get involved.
I don't think we have a choice here. This has to be eradicated. It's at epidemic levels. Just try to get that in your head. Epidemic levels. It's mind-boggling to me.
It is.
Hey, they can also, if they feel that this is the way they should go, they can contact you at the police department. 2 numbers, and we'll have them on our website. But 584-1800 is the main line coming into Saratoga Police Department. And they also have a hotline, 584-TIPS, T-I-P-S, which is 8477. So once again, 584-1800, 584-TIPS.
What I would say is, if you have any questions related to things that you might be seeing at home that are out of the norm, or at work that are out of the norm, don't hesitate. Give us a call. We always have police officers that are knowledgeable in the field of narcotics. The 584-TIPS, you can be, provide information to us and be left anonymous. Or if you just want somebody to talk to and get some information with regards to what you should be looking for, don't hesitate. Give us a call. You can call me directly. If I'm there, I'll definitely take your call and try to put you in the right direction.
Great. Thanks, Tim. And we're going to have Tim back on a regular basis, hopefully until this problem's eradicated. But we're certainly going to keep our viewers aware of what's going on and keep them updated. All right, so we'll have you back again. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, you're quite welcome. See this interview again? You can head to our website, looktvonline.com.